All right, what's going on, guys? We're back in the garage. I got a little update on the EK for you guys. So, as you guys can see, I've got my first layer of clear coat laid on the roof. It laid actually really well. Looks nice and smooth. I'm super happy with it. I'm really pumped on it, actually. The roof is looking really nice. So, with that being said, all we have left to do is we've got a little bit of work to do on this hood right here. Once this Bondo completely dries, it's been drying for an hour or so, but once it completely dries, we'll go over that. We'll get that nice and smooth, and then we have to wet sand the hood, get the hood nice and smooth. Then we're gonna put it in color, and then we're gonna clear it. One thing I was looking at was these mirrors. They don't really look very good. I don't think they're going to be able to be saved, so I think we're going to go ahead and pull them off while I've got the material. Sand them down really quick, throw them in primer, and then put them in some color, clear them, and those will be nice and fresh to match the rest of the car. I did pick up, I guess I didn't really pick it up. The lady had given it to me. Shout out to the lady at O'Reilly's who mixes the paint for me. She gave me this little container right here with some extra. Got this gnarly, I'm sure you guys can see it. Someone was really mad at somebody and they keyed dang near the whole car all the way down the side. So I'm gonna take one of those little paint correction pens with the abrasive tip, and we're gonna do the whole process. We're gonna scuff it up, but we're gonna use this, the actual, color code. And we're gonna try and fill in that scratch. We're gonna run a little bead of clear over it, and then we're gonna see if my buddy Chase can bring the lower half of this car back to life and, liven that paint back up. I think once this paint is, all buffed out, on this lower half, I think it's gonna come back. It's gonna look halfway decent, and this car is gonna be pretty nice. And if it's not, then it looks like I'm gonna go spend another $300 on paint, and we're just gonna do the entire damn car, and someone will get a fresh painted EK coupe. But I picked up some carpet today. I did not take any video of me pulling it because, one, I didn't really know the person, and going out to someone's house is kind of sketchy in my book. If you're gonna be recording and you don't know them. In my opinion, if someone came up to my house with a camera out ready to record and stuff, and I didn't know what was going on, I know I'd be a little confused. So I didn't record anything, but I got some carpet for this thing. It's gray. I took it to the self car wash. I do have some footage of me washing the carpet, so I'll go ahead and throw that in this video. And I think from this point forward, we're gonna finish the front end. I'm still looking for a full exhaust on the car. We're gonna get a full exhaust on the car, and then we can start it up and see how the engine runs. If the engine runs good, we're just gonna put it back to stock. Well, got the roof in color, both of the fenders are in color. I still have some work to do as far as the hood goes. I got most of the work on the hood done today. Got a little bit more sanding that I need to do right here. So as of right now, we got a little more body work on the hood to do. Once this part of the hood is finished, we're gonna wet sand the entire thing, make it nice and smooth. We'll put it into color, and then we'll clear it. And from there, the front end will be finished. I've got 2 cans of paint left, so I'm hoping 1 full can of black will cover the hood, and then maybe we'll go and we'll clean up the shock towers and some of the other little pieces like the radiator support up front. We'll just clean it up, make it look a little bit cleaner. Overall, I'm really happy with the way that this has come out so far. It looks really good, just for being rattle canned. It's gonna be interesting to see how we're gonna get this to blend with that, but that's something that we'll worry about here in a little bit. We walk into the house. to the hacienda. I've got these two fenders, and they're looking really good, nice and clean. They came out really nice, so I'm super pumped on that. So yeah, the front end is almost finished, and from this point we just have a little bit of work on the hood to do, and she'll be ready to go. So I'm excited on the progress that we're making. I think we're making good progress very quick. I've only had this car for 2 days so far, so this is day number 2. We've already got the roof painted, we've already got the fenders painted, hood's primed, some of the body work's done. We're gonna get back into that, like I was saying, and once we finish that, you know, we're gonna get this hood painted and this front end will be done. So I'm stoked. Found a bumper for it. I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow, so we're getting things going. So heading back to the car wash. Carpet dried out. It still looks a little grimy. I do plan on like dyeing it. I got some of that duplicolor carpet dye, so I'm gonna dye it black, but it also feels really rough, really scratchy, really hard. It's not soft anymore. So what I'm gonna do is I think it's from the soap at the car wash, because I actually did scrub it down and use the high pressure soap. I've got some like laundry detergent with some added softener in it, and I'm just gonna kind of slap it on there and then just basically hang it up and just keep rinsing clean water through that. And I'm hoping that that'll kind of bring it back a little bit, make it a little softer, make it a little nicer. If not, oh well. The plan is to dye it anyway, so regardless, it's gonna be black and it's gonna look a little bit better. But I'm hoping that we can kind of bring it back a little more in a sense, but we'll see what happens. Here at the car wash now, and I'm about to get started, so let's hang this carpet up and get some of this over stuff on it. So now I'm gonna take a little bit of this. Vlogging is hard with one hand. Sorry. Just gonna kind of take this on there. Do a little bit of that. Try not to waste too much of it. Just want to get a, but I know what I'm doing. There we go. Nice. Oh no, gotta fix it. Well, got the carpet all washed, kind of letting it drain out into this sewer while I can. I'm gonna take it out when I get to the house, put it in the driveway, let it dry out. And then once it's dry, we're going to dye it, and I will do a video of that. We'll go over that whole process so that way you guys can see how that's all done, and then we're gonna put it in the car. I've got a bunch of interior pieces for this car, so I think we're gonna do most of it inside is gray right now, so I think I'm just gonna finish off with gray interior. We're gonna get the interior installed. Still looking for a front bumper. The person I was trying to buy one from is not messaging me back now, so the front bumper is next. Once the Bondo on the hood is dry, we are going to do the rest of the body work on the hood and get the hood in color. That should happen tonight. Not sure if we're going to clear it though. I don't know. We're probably going to clear it, get it out of the way, and then once it's cleared and we let it dry for an hour or two, then we'll put it back on the car and we'll see what the hood and fenders look like on the car. I'm pretty pumped. I think they're gonna look good, but we'll see. So I'm gonna get in the car, head back to the house, and keep at it. Another thing, we took the carpet back to the car wash last night. It is not fully dry yet, but it is a heck of a lot softer. I am super pumped on that. So once it dries fully, we're gonna go ahead and dye that. I've got some carpet dye in the wagon for it. Let's pull this thing out into the sun actually. I'm gonna pull it down here. There we go. Pull it out in the sun, let it get some sun. Hopefully it'll dry out a little bit faster that way. Once it's dry, we'll hit that with some black dye. I guess we should start pulling the seats out of this thing so we can go ahead and get this carpet installed. And as you guys can see, a lot of this interior is gray. So I think what I'm gonna do is throw the black carpet in and then just kind of finish the center console with a gray center console pieces. I mean, we do have a black one here, but I wanna say I've got a gray one down there and that bunch of stuff. So honestly, let's see what's up. Let's see if I got the gray one, we'll throw the gray one in there so everything kind of matches. If not, then we're just gonna throw the black in there so it's complete interior. But I think that's what we're gonna work on next, is getting these seats out and getting the carpet put in, or getting it ready for the carpet to be put in after it's dyed. So I'm gonna hop back into it, and then I'll turn the camera back on once we get something done. So for anybody wondering what I was going to dye the carpet with, this is what I'm using, Duplicolor vinyl and fabric specialty coating. This is the satin black version. I don't know how many cans it's gonna take to do this carpet. These Civics are pretty small, so I assume one should do the job, but we're about to find out. We're gonna move this thing over into the grass. I'm not sure if that dye is gonna stain the concrete or not. Make sure. Yeah, that's still a little damp. Still a little damp right there, so I think we're gonna go ahead and let it dry a little longer. I don't want to do this half-assed or botched, so we're gonna let that dry for a couple more hours in the sun, and then we'll hop back and hit it with some of this Duplicolor fabric and vinyl. But while we're waiting for that, the hood has been drying here for about an hour. I wouldn't say quite an hour, probably about 40 minutes or so. I think it is nice and dry. Well, dry enough for me to go ahead and start wet sanding on it. So I'll go ahead and throw up a time lapse of me wet sanding the hood, and then we'll wipe it off and see what it looks like. And then maybe we'll throw some clear on it. All right, so we've sanded down the entire hood with 1500 grit. In spots, it still kind of looks patchy to me, but I don't have all day to make this look perfect, so I'm not gonna sit here and try to. We're gonna hit this hood with a layer of clear coat, and then hopefully after that, we should be in the money. Just go ahead, let it dry. Once everything dries up, we'll start installing stuff back onto the car. Carpet is still drying over there. We're gonna let it dry for another hour or two, and then once it is dry, we'll go ahead and use some of that Duplicolor carpet dye to get it looking pretty again, and then from there we'll put it back in the car. Once we get the interior of the car put back together, we'll focus on the mechanics again. I need to find at least a header. I could throw the turbo setup back on there just for startup, just to see if the car runs and to move it around a little bit here and there. But I would really like to get a stock exhaust with a stock header to throw back on it, so we can make sure that it doesn't have any check engine lights for O2 sensors or anything like that. And plus, I want it to sound quiet. I want it to sound as stock as possible, because that was kind of the goal for this project, is to keep it OEM and stock-ish. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some clear on this hood, and then we're gonna let it dry and start working on the interior stuff again. So I'm gonna jump back in it. Let's get going. There we go. All right, hood looking a lot better. Nice and clean, clear. A lot of the moisture is evaporated. Almost all the moisture is evaporated out of it, so it's nice and black now. The carpet is dry, so as you can see, we've got all the seats out, and we're gonna pull the carpet over into the grass, and then we're gonna hit it with the couple of coats of this Duplicolor spray-on dye stuff. So let's see. Here we go. Okay, so I vacuumed off this thing a couple of times. We washed it twice, rinsed it out twice. It's not perfect, but I think after a couple of coats of this stuff, it's gonna look damn good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try and apply this in as even a coat as I possibly can. Let's see what happens. Okay. So I'm just going back and forth, trying to evenly coat it. Oh, there's a bug, but he's now black bug, El Negro bug. Go all the way across. Keep this thing shaking up. Okay, so you can definitely see there's a difference there. So, looking quite a bit darker actually. So I'm just gonna continue to do this until we get the full carpet coated. And then we'll let it dry, and then we're gonna hit it from another angle. Because as you guys know, these fibers, they move around and whatnot, so if you brush it with your hand, it's likely that some of the color's gonna come through. All right, so I've gone over the entire carpet. One coat covered the carpet, just barely. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry. I gotta go pick up some food for the doggos. So when I go get food for the doggos, I'll pick up another can of this Duplicolor, and we'll go ahead and get another coat on there. So I'm sure once it dries and I go to rubbing around, we'll start seeing some blue here and there. But the interior of the car is prepped. Just waiting on the carpet to dry up. This hood's looking nice and good. We'll wipe it down. We're gonna let it dry for a couple of more hours before I try and touch it. And then later tonight, we'll put it on the car. We'll put the new fenders on the car. We'll get everything bolted down and see what it looks like. And then we'll get the interior put back together. And then like I was mentioning, once we get those things done, we'll start focusing on the engine. Maybe we'll throw the turbo and manifold back on there and start the car up, make some turbo noises. We won't get into any boost or anything, but just to move the car around. Maybe we'll drive it like that to the car wash and give it a good wash. But so far, so good. We're making a ton of progress on the car today. I'm super pumped on that. Got big news coming very soon, about 3 weeks until the new project gets here and the CRX gets here. I know once the CRX gets here, we'll have a lot of K-swapped EF content. Well, I got the carpet part way in. I was filming it, but I guess at some point in time, I smacked the camera, shut it off, so, well, sorry guys. A little bit over there. There we go. Not too bad. So I'm just kind of working the carpet over this piece right here. Got the carpet back in. Touched it up a little bit. We're gonna let it dry for an hour or so, and then once it fully gets a chance to dry, we'll go ahead and throw the seats back in. I'm gonna bring the vacuum cleaner out here and clean them up first. And then we're gonna throw the interior back together and get it looking nice and good. After I get the interior back together, I think it will have been long enough for me to go ahead and put the hood back on the car. Once that is finished, we'll bolt the fenders up and we'll take a look and see how everything is coming together so far. I think it's gonna look pretty rad, but only time will tell. Let's get to it. So I went ahead, threw on the fenders and hood. Man, this thing looks good. We need to wash the rest of the car so that way we can really see what it looks like, but I'm hoping that once my boy Chase buffs the back half of the car, it'll bring the paint back enough to somewhat match, decently match it. Only time will tell. Not 100% sure how good it's actually gonna turn out, but so far we are only a couple $100 in, and the car is all one color again. So super pumped. The front end looking nice and good. I almost wish I would have done the whole car. I think if I could have got the whole car looking like this, someone would have been pumped. But front end's looking good. Walk over here, check out the carpet really quick. Got the carpet dyed. I'm really excited with the way that this has turned out. So the next thing is gonna start putting the interior back together. Once the interior is back together, start working on the mechanics.